Let's go to the catwalks.
Let's go this way.
So especially for the people on the catwalks, these are your catwalks here. There's one there. Sort of access to 3 different spaces. The idea is that, and this is sort of a Canadian curatorial theme as well, you're trying to connect across large spaces, okay? So trying to make links between very disparate or distant areas. So you could do that however you want, through music, through sound, through movement, through fabric or something.
We're a unit and it's like one thing, and then when it leaves, it's like this is something new, but you take the other one to the next place and then it evolves again. So I don't know if we could literally like be connected and then separate somehow.
Then if you and I physically take each one and put them on their,
Cool. Yeah.
you know, and then you like speak or something, I don't know. Or sing, I don't know. And then the person will react to your voice, like if you go and then they will move.
This group here is the Catwalk group. We are part of a project called Off the Wall. We're performing in site-specific performances throughout the Living Arts Center. Our task is to create connections between particular landscapes. So the idea of Canada being a great landscape and how we connect over great distances. And so the catwalks are a metaphor perhaps for provinces or for spaces that are somehow separated but part of a bigger whole. Our ideas right now are working with Canadian birds and colors representing perhaps those birds and perhaps Canada and the provinces and the colors that are associated with those things.
Like when you said fashion, like it really reminded me of like the regalness, and they're very territorial. Like I think that's an interesting thing to put forth.
If we take on that idea of being territorial, that would be a fun place for all of us to work in that sense of like this catwalk is ours, but again.
I was tasked with writing a piece that resonated as we travel, basically from the 3rd balcony all the way to the end of the 2nd level. And there's this giant fabric that stretches across, and I did want to touch on our Canadian-ness and our culture, the languages, colors, all of the vastness that makes us who we are. And the migration piece is not just immigration, but how we've, traveled from the west to the east and the east to the west, and it's a constant movement within Canada. Although population-wise, we're pretty small in the world, we have a lot to show for ourselves, so that's what I wanted to resonate with the audience.
Have you ever done flocking before? This was the group and that was the front, you would be the leader, and we would all move like how you do, and then if you turn to face that wall, and like Damien would be the leader, and then on the diagonal it'd be like, so it's like always following a leader, so it's like flocking. So I have this like, we started in that manner of like, so it's like we were all together in a place, moving as a unit. So if we're dressed or wrapped in a way that unifies us, and our movement is that, so then when someone migrates, that's when it like starts to break. It breaks.
Like the unit, and then but the unit can stay.
So this unit can stay and one can leave, but it still exists because there's like a new leader. Or, like everyone's taking accountability for like.
And it can come back, like even if we're separated.
Yeah.
It can come back all together.
Because even if you're on the different platforms, right? If whoever's the most like frontal of the, like we can still follow you from afar, and that's like when you see like the Canadian geese flying, and then there's like one that's a little further away, and it like changes. So it's like we could actually still flock, which I think would be the continuity of communicating at a distance. So we're still flying together, but like at a distance.
And we can move, like we can move.
Yes.
And then still like do some movement.
So we would have to just figure out the best idea, because if we start on the 3rd here, or we start on the 2nd, and then we can travel back and travel up, or up to down.
The upper one is too far to start.
So when you think about migration, it doesn't have to be abroad or across continents, but it can be regional, from province to province. And we have so much going on in different representations in different provinces that you definitely get a different culture, whether you're in Ontario or Quebec, which are pretty much next door to each other, or Vancouver. It's a totally different experience, and that's what we wanted to demonstrate. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Summer is finally here. Red and white flags we raise as we migrate from here to there. Migration. Migration is synonymous with being Canadian. Canadian. From Vancouver to Prince Edward Island. Breathe in, breathe out the vastness of this nation. The bird's eye view is divine. From the east to the west, we shine and we declare, freedom is mine. Freedom is mine. Follow my lead as we journey into forever. Pick up the speed as we fly into forever. Near or far, far or near, big, wide, beavers and deer. Migration is synonymous with being Canadian. From BC to PEI, Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Nunavut, Yukon, Montreal. This is what we call home. From the east to the west, from the north to the south, all over this country, we shine, we shine, we shine.